In this persuasive speaking seminar, you're going to learn how to improve your delivery of healthcare content. I want to make a preliminary point that'll help you in all of the venues, but especially with your legislators. I'm going to start with a story. When I first became a single-payer zealot, I decided to descend into the belly of the beast and travel down to your area and talk with two of your very conservative legislators and tell them all about the beauties of single payer. Well, they ate me alive. The two of them had a great time stomping all over me, explaining to this pin-headed Multnomah County Democrat that free market economics were really the way to go in healthcare. At the end, they shook my hand. They were thrilled. They said, "Come back anytime for a second round." Well, I wasn't thrilled, and I explained this to my wife, Margaret, when I got home to Portland and wept into my white wine. She patted my hand and said, "Single payer will not be built on information. It will be built on relationships." That's the executive summary. By building a respectful and comfortable relationship with your legislator before you begin your education and advocacy, you will be much more effective. Many of you already have great relationships with your legislators, so the next few minutes will be a review. For those of you who haven't yet had your first date, I hope to make it less intimidating. First thing to do is make the call and make the appointment. However, you can go wrong here. Do not attempt to see your legislator when she's in her office in Salem, and especially not during the session. Her scheduler will probably suggest a coffee shop near her office in her hometown, and that's exactly where you want to see her. When you arrive, thank her for seeing you, and then two parts. First, talk about yourself. Tell your legislator who you are, the neighborhood you live in, your job, your family, your dog. Make yourself distinctive. Second part, tell them you're concerned about healthcare. And you're not telling your legislator what to do. You're talking about what worries you. Example, I'm worried that one hospitalization will destroy my family. I'm worried that if I go to sleep tonight and don't wake up, my family is not going to get healthcare. I'm worried that I can't afford the deductible on my insurance, so even having insurance does me no good, and so on. You can explain what you want from healthcare is access for your family no matter what happens to you. You want to have your costs go down, and it doesn't matter what they're labeled as. Taxes, premiums, out-of-pocket payments, it all has to go down. And you want high-quality healthcare. And you know it can be done because it's done around the world. You'd like it to happen here. Thank you for listening. At this point, if your legislator is smart, and she probably is, she'll thank you for being forthright and say, thank you for sharing time with me. Before you go, however, there are two other features that you can do to improve your credibility. Now, you don't want to go to this first session wearing your red Healthcare is a Human Right t-shirt. I'm wearing my AMW root beer t-shirt. You don't want to come with your index cards filled with points. You want to talk about yourself. Here's an example, good example of a bad example. It comes from my sordid days of adult dating. Most of you are too young to remember that. Had a first date with a woman. We had great promise, lots in common. I was trying to figure out a way to make sure we had a second date and many dates after that, and got relaxed enough and said, "What are your plans for the future?" She looked at her watch and said, "By this time next Sunday, I want to be married." Well, that was a showstopper. I swallowed hard. I looked at my watch and said, "Where has the time gone? In a few minutes, I've got to be somewhere else." And sure enough, a few minutes later, I was somewhere else. Now, we can't fault this person for being honest and forthright, but we can fault her for timing. Before you get to the education and advocacy, you want to get to a comfortable, respectful relationship. You can build your credibility with two items. Before you leave, you can offer your legislator a free copy of The Healing of America. You can say, I found healthcare policy extremely complex. This made it easier, it's fun, it's quick, it's entertaining. You can keep this, or when you're done reading it, you can pass it on to somebody else. Now, you can get your copy from Amazon for $12, or you can come up to Portland and I'll give you a dozen of them for free. I order them by the gross and give them away like Gideon gives out Bibles. The second offer you can make to your legislator is hold a town hall in your living room. They love that. And it's simpler than you think. First, just fill the room. Not with single-payer crazies like me, not with pin-headed Democrats like me, just with your neighbors. Whatever it takes to fill your living room. 8 people, 18 people, do it. Your legislator arrives, don't worry about the agenda. You do a welcome, you do an introduction, and then you turn this over to your legislator. Your neighbors will think you're a god because you can bring a state legislator right into your living room. And your legislator will remember that filled room for a long time. The second date, when you arrive, your legislator will say, Dr. Metz, yes, you're the one who's concerned about healthcare. What can I do for you? Or maybe, Sambo, baby, who loves you? Come to Papa. Have a seat, have a pew, have a cigar. Tell me what you want. You got it, kid. Most likely it'll be somewhere in between. But your legislator will not waste time wondering, who is this guy? And why am I talking to him? That's the summary. Establish a respectful, comfortable relationship with your legislator on the first date. And the second date, you hit him with the t-shirt, you hit him with the index card, and you'll be much more effective. And you're about to learn with the rest of the webinar how on your second, third, and fourth dates you can be more effective. Thank you very much. Okay, how long